Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody, and especially fellow insomniacs. Thank you so much. I had no idea there were so many other people who have this weird sleeping pattern like I do. I don't know what's the matter with me. Anyway, but thank you all very, very much for your support and for being here and liking, subscribing, etc. It's quite a serious subject today. Now, the thumbnail I think I'm going to use for this is the depiction of what was known as the mother, that's the lead character in the film Barbarian, alongside Meghan. And I think I'm going to call it something like The Monster Within. And we're going to talk about this, and it's going to be quite harsh for the Sugars and Meghan fans, and for Meghan and for Harry. This is going to be very, very, very uncomfortable watching for them, particularly because when they look into that monster's eyes, that's them. That's what they're going to see staring straight back at them. So time for some home truths. And also, I'd like to approach what I'm about to talk about from a PR point of view. And what a shit bomb this is going to be for Meghan and Harry. And anybody who's gone along with it. Omid Scobie, Christopher Boozy, etc., Ellie Hall, Judge Warby, all of them. I think that one of my very first videos, I said, people need to try and remember to be on the right side of history, because one day it's going to come back and bite them on the arse. And I think that day just arrived. Oh dear. They're all going to be a load of little wide-mouthed frogs, aren't they? Pretending they're narrow-mouthed frogs to get avoided being eaten by the snake who eat wide-mouthed frogs. But before we get to all of that, and I think I'm going to do this as a premiere because all of you guys deserve the chance to talk about this, to join in on this enormous conversation. Especially, I would like to highlight one of my moderators, Samantha Mustard. Now, Samantha is a lovely and loving mother and just a lovely lady, one of the most inoffensive people you would ever meet. And what she does on premieres, every single premiere of mine, and I'm so glad she does, is she says, "Meghan, how's your father?" Thank you, Samantha Mustard. Thank you for pointing that out on every premiere I think you've done. And I dare say she'll be doing it right now. But yeah, just want to do what they call housekeeping. I don't really like these catchy phrases. But just quickly before we get going, the video I did last night, I mentioned paraphrasing, and you need to keep this in mind. When I said, a lot of you are absolutely correct in the comments, the royal family do pay tax, and it is an inordinately complicated subject. In the context of the video last night, and through paraphrasing, abbreviating, etc., and interpreting things in my way, yes, I said the royal family don't pay tax, which implies they don't pay a penny of tax, which is incorrect. They do. They don't pay tax in the same way as us. In some ways they pay more, in some ways they don't pay any. And it's a hugely, hugely complex subject. But a lot of you had put fairly lengthy comments explaining the tax that they do pay. And thank you for that. So I wanted to clear that up. The royal family do pay tax. Sometimes I abbreviate things, especially when it's the middle of the night and, you know, my mind is really focusing on a different subject and I mention something. But I did say last night that I do tend to paraphrase, abbreviate, exaggerate to portray my interpretation of a situation, which may be different from yours. So I wanted to clear that up. Also, and yeah, I think I will cover this at the end because it's a bit of a stinger in the tail for old Megsy and her as ever brand. In love with Meghan, or whatever the fuck this shit's called. I thought I would cover this subject in a separate video, but no, I think I'll do this one at the end because I thought about this about a week ago. But I knew her programme was coming out, which I didn't watch. I didn't give it a click. And I haven't watched it, but I'm sure I would have heard if she was doing this thing. It is a marketing thing. And if I had done the video before, I ran the risk of one of her staff pointing it out to her and saying, "Oh my God, you need to do this. Shit, it's financial suicide if you don't." So I thought, no, I'm going to wait till her programme comes out and then I'll mention it. And then it will be too late. How many days is it till Christmas now? I think it's the 5th today, isn't it? So there's 20 days to Christmas. So it's far, far, far too late for her to take any advice from me on marketing for her stupid jam and her products. So I'll cover that at the end. So that's, we'll come back to that one. And there is a member of our community, Lily, It was Lily who predicted, or suggested rather, that the Princess of Wales could wear the Oriental circlet. And Lily's just blown away, as am I, by the fact that it would appear the Princess of Wales heard us all and thought, yeah, and William and palace staff, and thought, yeah, the Cambridge Lover's Knot is a gorgeous tiara, but, you know, we all wanted to see more. Camilla has worn many different tiaras. The late monarch did. Princess Anne has tiaras that she switches up. I'd also like to talk about, just quickly, the Duchess of Gloucester. My God, this lady, I think, is 81, 79, well, she's 80-ish. I'm going to put a picture up of her because of all of them in that banquet procession. I looked at her and I just thought, my God, woman, what kind of an Alexa do you use? You look fabulous. And I loved her red dress. And of course, these are major members of the royal family that contribute to, the whole thing. She does a lot of work and people forget, and all this slimmed down monarchy and stuff like that. Right, let's talk about the monster that lives within. The monster that lives within Meghan, and not only within Meghan, it would appear within a lot of other people. I wake up this morning, well, I'll be honest, just before noon, because I was up till God knows what time last night, to the news that Thomas Markle Sr. has apparently had to have his left leg amputated below the knee. I think he's 81 years old. That's a great, great age. And I know that a lot of you, I got up and I was reading the comments in my video last night, and it was one of you guys who said, oh my God, I've just heard. And so I stopped reading the comments to go and look and watch and to find out. He is a gentleman, like him or not, of extremely advanced years. And whatever any of us think of him, to him, it's more important what his family members think of him. And of course, there's one particular family member who is a monster, in my opinion. A heartless, cruel monster. Now, the photograph, the depiction that I was criticised for using because some cheeky bastard tried, they even dared try, liken that situation to the way people took the piss out of my dying husband when he was dying of cancer. The reason that I chose that depiction, and one of you put it better than I could ever have done, is that is how I see Meghan's soul, not her exterior. So we're not going for the body shaming. And there's always some twat who's offended by some shit, isn't there? Well, they'd best fuck off and get off this fucking channel, or they're going to end up being super fucking offended, aren't they? Because what they need to do is look into the eyes of that monster and they will find themselves sitting there to say and suggest such a disgusting thing. Meghan and Harry have been afforded every generous courtesy from planet Earth by many, many people. They have been let off the hook. It's always, oh, poor little Meghan, poor little Harry. I don't hear many mainstream media or BBC or, who cares what they think anymore, or any big organisation mentioning that Prince Philip was dying while they did that Oprah interview. I know I'm covering old ground, but there's a reason. There's a monster that lurks within. A soulless, cold, cruel monster. That is Meghan Markle. And I don't think it's just in my opinion. I think other people see it too. I really do. There's the late monarch, dying of bone cancer. Didn't stop them there. Our current monarch, not dying of cancer, but suffering cancer. Didn't care there, did they? The Princess of Wales being diagnosed with cancer. Didn't care there, did they? My late husband being tortured, not only by Sugars and Meghan Markle fans, my God, but by other YouTubers. Now, at the time, it was incredibly difficult for Graham to deal with that, to have been depicted as a deformed human being because he'd had surgery for cancer. But they thought it was really funny. Oh, he's had cancer surgery. Oh, let's put deformed a bit. Those YouTubers have subsequently said how goddamn sorry they are. But that's only because they got a lot of heat from guys like you. Now Meghan Markle is about to have the fury of planet Earth unleashed on her and Harry. Now, I don't know if she knows it, but I think Harry does, because a little puff piece has come out from some guy called Rob Shooter, apparently, who has been told that Harry has been urging his wife to be kind to her father for a long time. Oh, Harry's the nice one. I've been telling her, you've got to talk to your father. He's of advanced years. Oh, you've got to go and make up. Really, the same Harry is this, and Mr. Markle Sr. has been in intensive care for over a week. I didn't mention it because, you know, that's their private business, but I feel this is the moment. So he's been in intensive care, and yet but less than 24 hours, there's Harry on Stephen Colbert off his tits and enjoying himself and pulling faces. Oh, he's having such a great time. Yeah, Harry was really worried about Thomas Markle Sr. Oh my God, I can see it in his eyes, can't you? Oh, bless him. Bless his kind little heart. Can you see it? Can you see it, Windsor? Can you see what a bad look this is from a PR point of view? This is the worst PR nightmare of their fucking lives. Now, as I understand it, Mr. Markle Sr. would like to see his daughter. He will at the moment be not only trying to heal from a pretty serious operation, physically, but also mentally, at his advanced age, as well as having had the piss taken out of him and his family by his daughter, and by members of the press, and by commentators on social media, some of which I've seen a little while back unashamedly stealing Tom Jr.'s content to take the piss out of him and have a bloody good laugh for clicks and likes and cash, which, by the way, I don't do on this channel. I really don't. I'm not tooting my own horn. If I've got nothing to say, you'll notice I don't do any videos for a few days. I don't sit here thinking, oh, what the fuck am I going to talk about? I say shit when I've got shit to say. And I, generally speaking, don't steal content from primary carers who are looking after elderly relatives, sick relatives. I generally don't do that. I think it's a bit of a, I'm going to use a strong word here, cunty trick. Now, I also know that a lot of you, and I spoke to someone American about the word cunt, which I understand a lot of you get offended by, but where I come from, in my neck of the woods, it's never, ever, ever used to represent the actual physical part of a lady's body. Nobody, I believe, I certainly don't, when using that word, nobody thinks of a lady's garden. It has a completely different connotation. Speaking of cons, here in Spain, people frequently go, hey, coño. This means the same thing, but they say it to their mates. Hey, coño, coño, coño. It's a complete, and so God's sake, it's like when someone says fucking hell, they're not actually imagining or trying to express two people having sex in hell. It just doesn't mean that. So, and it's a word. You know, I know a lot of you don't like it. It's just a fucking word. I can't think of anything else. Is for anybody to do clicks and likes, to laugh, entertain, earn money of people dying of cancer, people who have died of cancer, people having amputations, people being in intensive care. That is cuntish. There's no other word for it. It's the strongest word. That is called being cuntish. Give me another word in the comments. So don't do it, creators. Don't go there. I believe any creator who goes there, well, they deserve to lose their platform, quite frankly. They deserve everything they get. If they're going to laugh at illness, at death, at age, at cruelty from the monster that Meghan Markle is, they deserve everything they get, quite frankly. I've forgiven the people who did it to me. I dare say the royal family too have forgiven, because that is how they are. That does not mean it's forgotten. Oh my God, no. So every time I see this type of cruelty rear its head, which it is for the Markle family at the moment, it brings it all flooding back for me personally, and I'm sure it does for any of you guys who've suffered, any of you guys who've had a bereavement and then cheapskates have tried to move in and take advantage and, ooh, ka-ching, 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 how can I make this work to my advantage? They are the monster that lives under the skin, the soul. That depiction of that monster is what I see as Meghan's soul. I don't care what she looks like on her exterior. She's not a bad looking chick, you know. I don't care. I'm not interested. She's kind of, you know, boring. But, I mean, she's depicted herself that way. Beige, boring, blah, 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 blah. Uninteresting, talentless, selfish, self-centered, egocentric, narcissistic, pitiful, shallow, empty vessel, nothing, vacuous, banal. She is nothing. And she has actually worked very hard to be nothing, to be heartless, to be cruel on a world stage, not only to her own father, who spent a fortune on her education, despite a few, oh, whoopsies. Oh, sorry, I think I've got something in my eye. God, I hope it's not super glue. I'm sure it's hilarious at the time. I mean, almost as funny as laughing at dying people. Oh my God, Meghan. This is hellfire and brimstone moment for you. Now, as I was saying, as I understand it, Mr. Markle Sr. would like to see his daughter. And I hope she goes for that very reason and only that reason. But as far as I'm concerned, even if she does go, she's never going to live this one down. This is all the years. The man's health is in deterioration, I believe, because of having shit bombs from his own daughter, who he showered with gifts, showered with opportunities, and she wouldn't be where she is today, married to some pillock, if it wasn't for her father. How sad is this? And how much Tom Jr. has been his carer. So any of you who've been carers, I'm sure your heart goes out to him. Mine certainly does. It's not easy. It's exhausting. And on top of all that, as I understand it, he's having to face criticism from people who want to earn a few quid from likes and clicks and likes and clicks. And, oh yeah, little charmers, aren't they? I won't give them the clicks any more than I'll give it to Meghan and her stupid Netflix show, which is just, you know, the death knell has rung for that one. It's over. As ever, is over. Oh yeah, her marketing thing. Yeah, I'll touch on this quickly. So she likes to send these boxes of wine and little jam things out in like wooden boxes. Well, Christmas is approaching. She's just had her holiday special. Couldn't even call it Christmas special. Well, I'll tell you the marketing opportunity she just missed big, big ways. Where's Meghan's Christmas hamper? There is a huge trade in Christmas hampers. Meghan's products would have been screaming out for it. Should have been marketed months ago, ready for the build up to Christmas. It's too late now. There's a very, very famous company called Fortnum & Mason, and they do a big trade in hampers. I've always been interested in hampers because it's traditionally it's a wicker box, and it's full of things like you know, special maybe jellies, chocolates, preserves are a big thing, pickles, alcohol, and it's all boxed up and it's sent to someone as a Christmas present. A lot of people like to send hampers. I actually sent my brother-in-law a Fortnum & Mason hamper a couple of years ago. He wasn't very grateful. He didn't know what the hell any of the ingredients were. He found the marmalade and he ate that, but the rest of it, he's like, I don't know what, Philistine. Anyway, I won't bother sending him one of them again. But I think he kept the box. It came in I think it came, not in a wicker basket. I think it was one that came in a little wooden type suitcase. I think he kept that. He's probably sold it on eBay. Now, it is my belief, I've actually looked on the internet into the history of the hamper. And before any of you say, you know, yeah, it's been around 1,000 years and it was made popular in Victorian days, it's actually my belief and my understanding from my family that it was a fairly economical, safe and easy way to thank the staff who'd worked on a manor estate. Let's think Downton Abbey, right? Now at Christmas, the Lord and Lady of the Manor, and again I'm paraphrasing, I know there's dukes, there's earls, there's monks, the Lord and Lady of the Manor on Christmas Eve would present all of the guests with a Christmas present. I think members of royal staff at Buckingham Palace get a Christmas pudding or something like that. It's just, you know, it's a token to show appreciation. Well, these Christmas lists can grow. And a lot of aristocrats are actually quite skint. And they're like, holy camoli, Christmas is coming up, got to give everybody a present. And it is my belief that probably somebody quite savvy once upon a time thought, I know what, we make our own jam, we make our own pickles and preserves. What about we get some of these laundry baskets, and of which we've got an abundance, and we can put the stuff in there with a bit of straw, bit of hay, and we'll send that. And it's actually the produce from, for example, I know Downton Abbey is fictitious, but for example, from the Downton Abbey estate, which we all know is the Carnarvons. I believe that's what it was born out of. I think it was born out of necessity. Like, I haven't got much money. What can I give? You know, there's nothing better than a homemade gift kind of thing. And I'll bet you they became super popular in the First World War, because a lot of these manor houses were turned into sort of makeshift hospitals for help soldiers recover and recuperate. I believe that's where it became really popular. Far more than Victorian days. I mean, Google. One of you guys the other day said, oh, Google says so, it must be true. Oh my God, get that thought out of your head, please. There's loads I Google and I look at it and I think, well, this is fucking bollocks. So at one time, Graham Googled who was Princess Diana, and Google said Princess Diana was Meghan Markle's sister. Oh, how we laughed. How we laughed. I mean, so do not rely on Google. Google's good. It's good on the whole, but I always try and go and reference it somewhere else or scratch my head and think, oh, I don't think that's correct. The other day I Googled when was the last time someone was executed at the Tower of London, and Google came out with something, you know, like going back to William the Conqueror, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, Google? I've actually been watching documentaries and hard evidence that there were firing squads in the First and Second World War. Google don't know, you know, Google got to catch up, so you got to be so careful what you believe these days. Yeah, for Harry and Meghan, now, I mean, she's missed, that boat has sailed, that hamper idea. Even if she does it now, wouldn't it be funny if she did it now? If she were to do that now and suddenly put a hamper on her website, I'll be convinced she's watching this, or her people are. Absolutely convinced. Lily, who suggested the tiara, I think that's an astounding, astonishing coincidence. I think there might have been Lily and one other person who suggested the Oriental circlet. And I actually went and Googled it myself, and I thought, I don't know. I had my doubts about it. But it just makes me think that people who work for the royal family and Harry and Meghan read your comments. They're listening. Well, you sent the message loud and clear to Meghan and Harry now. How does this look? For years, the Markle family have been begging Meghan to go and see her father. If she does go to visit him now, and as I say, I hope she does, because that's what he wants, and anything that will help his healing and make him happy, I want. But the world is going to look at it, and for the shallowness that it would be, aren't they? We're all going to look at it and think, oh, she's only gone because the world can see her for the monster that she is now. Now, I know this sounds terrible, because she was equally, and so was Harry, monsters towards the late Philip and the late monarch. But they're Meghan's in-laws. This is her own flesh and blood, her own father. So it's kind of double whammy for me. I mean, my father, he died suddenly of a heart attack, and he was in the Outer Hebrides in Stornoway. I didn't even know. I phoned my mum. I knew something was wrong. I just got one of these feelings, and I asked a friend, can I use your phone? I've just got a feeling something's wrong. And I rang my mum, and she told me, you know, he's died. And it was devastating. But if we'd known, and she said, in fact, I think I did actually, in the months before when he was very ill, my boyfriend at the time actually paid quite a lot of money for me to fly up and be with them. You know, I wanted to be with him. When Graham was ill, Faith, I mean, wild horses wouldn't keep her away. And when he went into hospital the last time, I phoned her up and I said, I think you'd better come over. And she was in Gibraltar within about 8 hours. She booked the flight. She said, I'll be there, hell or high water. She was on her way. Meghan, what kind of a daughter does that, eh? What kind of a daughter? Will the world let her off? Will they? Will they still continue? I mean, I'm still incensed at that person. How dare they liken that monster, Meghan Markle, and me putting that image up of what I consider her black and dark, horrible soul. How dare they liken that to my gorgeous Graham? He was a kind and gentle soul. Do you know what? One of the trolls, I did see a comment about 4 weeks ago, said, Graham's happier now he's dead because I made his life a misery. Well, to that person who wrote that, you look into the eyes of this monster. That is you. You are an ugly, nasty monster. As is Meghan Markle. As is anybody else who takes the shortcut for money, or anybody else who thinks, oh, I won't hold back because someone's ill or they're elderly. I'll just stick that knife in. You are on the wrong side of history, and you best look into the eyes of the monster, because that is you. I am a great supporter of forgiveness, and I forgive people for my own sake so that I can move on. But forget? Oh, never, never. You can rest assured that for the rest of my life, when the subject comes up and people say, what happened to your husband? Oh yeah, I'll tell them all about it. And every time I tell that story and distance has gone, the story will become uglier and uglier and uglier to the person listening. It's not just dishonourable, it's downright appalling and disgusting. And poor Mr. Markle has had his fair share of criticism. He's not perfect. I don't think he ever claimed to be perfect. I don't think any of the Markles did. I'm not sure they ever had the financial ability or the public relations know-how to know or understand how to cope, how to react with what was about to be thrown at them. Not just by their sister, but by the press, by bloodsuckers, by sharks in the water. I dare say they were bowled over. I dare say Mr. Markle, of poor health and of advanced years, I think this is how he's arrived at this point in time, where he is seriously, clearly seriously ill. It's quite the disgrace, isn't it? And if my words are harsh, imagine how the words of historians over the next couple of 100 years are going to be towards Harry and Meghan. History will not look kindly upon Meghan and Harry. History, I dare say, will not look kindly upon stupid people like Ellie Hall. And I do believe Ellie is stupid, not just unpleasant, misguided. I think she's stupid. I think she's one of these women who sort of just lives for Hallmark romantic movies because she has not found her life partner yet. I hope she does. Omid Scobie, plastic doll. History will not be kind. In the future, I can see further Netflix versions of The Crown. Oh, how this will all play out. What an ugly, 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 ugly picture this will paint for future generations. Every day, babies are being born. Many, in fact, the majority of people love their parents. They will grow up and they will see Harry and Meghan as the bad Santas, the bad fairies, the evil, the nasty, the wicked, the boo royals. That's how future generations who grow up and think, I love my mum and dad. I love my... Meghan and Harry did what? I love my grandparents. Meghan and Harry did what? Oh, bad luck, Windsor. You should have got yourself into that 12-step program a long time ago and got yourself the fuck away from this woman who, by the way, has ruined your life. Harry, she's ruined your damn life, and you're doing a pretty good job of it. I kind of understand the Stephen Colbert thing. I mean, the man's off his tits. I think he's off his lead. He's finally escaped. And I do believe he's going to spend, well, I don't know if he's going to spend Christmas in Manhattan now. I wouldn't mind betting old Windsor will jump on a plane to go and visit Mr. Markle Sr. I wouldn't mind betting at all. But that'll make Meghan look even like a mega bomb worse, won't it? Oh, Harry, the son-in-law he never met. It feels so bad. He's going to go, but Megsie won't. I think she'll jump on a plane and she'll make sure all her paps, her paid paps, are there. How is, and the world will look, even if she does this, she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't. And she has put herself there. She has literally put herself right in the middle of the biggest cowpat ever. And the only way out of it is to swim through muck, through all the muck that she's created. This is the death knell of both of them, as if they weren't unpopular enough. I wrote to Harry years ago. A lot of you who've been with me a long time, you know this. I read the letter out. I think if you look on YouTube, you might find it. I think it's entitled Dear Prince Harry. And it was before I realised what an absolute utter fool he was. And before I realised, you know, quite how horrible she was. And one of the things I advised Harry was, get your wife to talk to her father. Because by making Thomas Sr. a target, you automatically make yourselves targets. They've served themselves up on a silver platter before the world, haven't they? What a pair of fools. Well, I've always thought they're both fucking stupid. She just gives a slight illusion of being ever so slightly more intelligent than that cretin. Oh, one or two of you had asked me, before I forget, if I think that Harry is involved in some scheme with anti-monarchists to bring down the monarchy. All honesty, I don't believe Harry knows how to spell the word monarchy. I'm not sure he understands what a monarchy is. I mean, he knows words like king. That's nice and short, isn't it? K-I-N-G. King. King. He might know how to spell prince. I'll give him that one. So he knows, and he's probably seen Disney films. Castle, king, queen, princes. But beyond that, you know, I'm not sure he understands what the big emblem is behind judges and magistrates in court. Not sure he understands that the forces are part of the crown, that the crown has many departments. I'm not sure Windsor's quite clear on any of that. So for me to believe that he's part of a conspiracy to bring down the monarchy, I find that a bit of a stretch. What I do believe is that he's a useful cretin, and I will use I know it's a medical term, but I will use the word cretin, because I think medically Harry is a cretin, an imbecile, an idiot. He is those things. He's not functioning on all cylinders, is he? So I think he's been a useful cretin to people who argue the case that they want rid of the monarchy. I mean, there've been useful idiots before that those kind of people use. A lot of you have made so many good points in the comments about, you know, people who want rid of the monarchy. Believe me, the sad thing is, people who have this idealistic output, you know, take money from the rich to give to the poor, you know, the Robin Hood fantasy. The sadness is that it's not until their wish is granted that they will then look back on it and think, holy shit, we ended up so much worse off. We lost so much. Some of you also pointed out how many people would lose their jobs. I mean, there are thousands of people who work for the British royal family and public, not just the, you know, they're not private servants to clean up after the royal family. There are people, there are cleaners, there are people who are constantly polishing silver, and they are doing it for the benefit of the public. They're doing it to represent a country, represent the crown. They'd all be out of a job, wouldn't they? Now, you're going to have to check this one because I'm not entirely sure, but I distinctly remember my parents saying, when Windsor Castle set fire years ago in the 90s, I remember my mum and dad saying, well, the Queen used to own Windsor Castle and she gave it to the people. So Windsor Castle is crown property, but it wasn't apparently before. Now, you're going to have to look into this because I haven't, you know, I'm so focused on Mr. Markle, I haven't actually looked into this. And then the castle caught fire, and I believe that the late monarch actually paid herself out of her own money to fix it all up, even though it wasn't her castle anymore. She'd given it to the people. But double check me on that because I'm not entirely sure, but I think that was the case. You know, that's just one example. I mean, I just hate all this, you know, who's paying tax there, who's paying tax there, just moaning and moaning and moaning. Why don't they find fucking solutions? Stop moaning. Why don't they cut the fat where it comes to the civil service? Why don't they cut the fat where it comes to politicians and stuff, you know? It's, well, who am I to criticise the powers that be that seem to know so much better than me? I mean, what do you think? I just see Meghan as a cold-hearted monster, and ugly. I'm talking about her soul. An ugly, ugly soul. And Harry doesn't care or doesn't know because he is so doped up. He is so drugged up. He hasn't got a bloody clue what's going on. He's away with the fairies. Believe me, there is nothing planned. There's nothing organised in that man's life. He just lurches, can't you see that? He lurches from one disaster to the next. He hasn't got a clue. He can't see the bigger picture. Everything for him, he's just seeing through fog, through blurry eyes. He doesn't know what's going on. Well, I think I've done all of that on my list. Hampers as well. When I was looking up hampers, I'd forgotten. People used to like pay a small amount each week, something like Littlewood's catalogue, to save up for the Christmas hamper. So, I mean, it's always very, very much been actually an economy. Now, I'm going to tell you something else, which I think you better check, because I might have got this wrong as well. But I think that Eton was a college or a school set up for paupers and orphans. It was never set up originally for the rich and the hoi polloi. It was actually, like sending kids to the poorhouse, and like an Oliver Twist type sort of but it was a school, I think, and it's obviously evolved over the years, and it's turned into something. But you do check that one, because I might have remembered that wrong. And hampers equally. It's strange how these things, for example, in the house, we have 4 silver domes, which I use at Christmas, and I also used to use them a lot when the kids were little, because I would cook food, and they just didn't want to eat it. They were like, I'm not hungry at the moment. So I would put the silver domes over the food for them to nibble later. And I'd leave them on the sideboard like a buffet, and sure enough, by the time I got there midnight, I'd lift all the dishes out. Oh, all the sausages have gone, all the totes, it's all been eaten. So it was a practicality, and I think that's where the silver dome was born out of. It's just a practicality to preserve food. Like the hamper, I believe, was a practicality, like, holy shit, we can't send everybody diamond necklaces. What have we got? What have we got in abundance that we can actually send out to people that they'd appreciate? Well, people want food and drink for Christmas, and we've got plenty of it, and they want pickles and jams and preserves, and I believe that's where the humble hamper came from. But then it's been taken to a new level by companies, fabulous companies like Fortnum and Mason, and Harrods do one as well, and many, many, many other companies do it. And I suppose we all do it ourselves with our Christmas shopping, building up to Christmas. If you're skint, like we have been, I think, well, I'll buy that, and I'll buy that in advance, and things that keep ready for Christmas. But Megs has missed out on that one, hasn't she? Which makes me laugh, warms my heart. Bad luck, tough shit, Meghan. Should have thought of it before. Maybe you should employ better people to give you better ideas. But now she's shot her bolt. That's the end of her show. Like I say, I didn't watch it. I'm not going to give her clicks. And anyway, I haven't got the life force to spend watching some beige boring crap for an hour. Fuck's sake. I do hope that Mr. Markle recovers well. I think he's got an uphill battle, let's put it that way. But I do pray, and I hope that the people that have had a go at him in the past, and Meghan's fans, I hope they hang their heads in shame. I hope anybody who has a go at somebody who is got a serious condition, I hope they hang their heads in shame. I hope they see themselves today for the monsters that they are. And I believe tomorrow and ever after, Harry and Meghan are going to go down as the biggest monsters of the royal family. I mean, this is, I think the last worst thing was like the princes in the tower kind of thing before you get to this shit. This is pure evil. To ignore her father, for him to ignore her father, for him to be such a lily-livered pussy that he couldn't man up to his wife and say, you're going to do the right thing. I've never met my father-in-law. We are going to visit now. He should have put his damn foot down a long time ago, and he's going to go down in history as a right girl's blouse, isn't he? Tooted off his head on God knows what. Well, he gets the life he deserves, I suppose. What a pair of unpleasant idiots they are. As for the rest of you, thank you very, very, very much for joining me for this moan. And I'm sure that a lot of you send your prayers and well wishes to not only to Thomas Markle Sr., but to his family, and also to each and every one of you. If any of you are going through illness, through difficulty, If any of you are going through a grieving process, I'd just like to add at the end that I have been invited to be on a panel with Cindy Dogwood, who is also one of us here. You might have seen her in the comments. And Cindy, feel free to put a link to that live. We're going to go live. It's, I'm not sure what, I think I've forgotten what time, my time. I think it might be, well, I better not say because I'll probably get it wrong, but I've done a community post and you can find her channel and a link to the actual live. And we're going to, because Cindy lost her husband a year ago. She lost her lovely Mike on the 9th of December. So this is going to be her first anniversary. And also on the panel is going to be Dave Murphy, not David Murphy. David Murphy is a lady, okay? One of my moderators. Dave Murphy is a gentleman, also one of my moderators. It's just a pure coincidence, very, very similar name. But Dave Murphy lost his wife during childbirth of his twins. And so we're all going to talk about grief and grieving and, you know, how, if it, in the hope that it might help any of you that have gone through this more recently than us, or you fear you're going to go through it, or you've just gone through it. And I hope it helps in some way. And I do hope that, as I say, anybody who's got an illness, that they have a strong, speedy recovery, especially in time for Christmas. Thank you all very, very much for listening. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and may your God be with you.